Hey friend, welcome to the Halfway to Dead podcast. I'm your host, Jen Lovell. Listen, you and I have reached that age where we are done with the bullshit. We know that midlife is our chance to flip the script and experience life on our own terms. It's time to reconnect with our higher selves and reclaim our inner peace. Are you ready with an open heart and an open mind? Awesome, you're in the right place. Hop in and ride shotgun with me on this midlife spiritual journey. Hey guys, welcome back. This week I interviewed Shannon Keef. Shannon is not only a full-time nurse practitioner specializing in adult and geriatric primary care for the past 12 years, but she's a gifted shaman whose unexpected journey into spiritual healing has touched countless lives. Her unique approach combines traditional shamanic practices with modern healing modalities, creating profound transformation for those seeking deeper connection and healing. She's got a warm, genuine presence and a natural ability to connect with the spirit world. Shannon guides others through their own healing journeys using sound healing, drum work, Reiki, mediumship, and shamanic rituals. Her work has been described as divine intervention and miraculous, bringing hope, healing, and spiritual awakening to all who experience her gifts. Okay, listen, we're going to go over Shannon's story. We've talked about how their spiritual journey is slow moving. Not the case for Shannon. Shannon has only been heavily embracing her gifts in her spiritual journey for the last 2 years, but she has had a doozy of a time, you guys. So you've got to listen to her story. Every time you think like, oh, that's got to be it. Nope, she throws another one at us. She's had near-death experiences. She has had encounters with Archangel Michael and with the Grim Reaper, who, by the way, spoiler alert, is actually good looking. Let's hop in, hear her story, and then head over to the bonus material because she's actually doing a little reading for me live for you guys too. All right, let's get in there. You're going to love this one. I found Shannon because someone listened to my episode on a psychic story, and I reached out to her, this different person, and I said, hey, you should come on the show and share your story. And she's like, I don't know if I'm ready for all that yet, but I know someone who you would probably love her story. So then she sent me to you, Shannon. Like I said, I always go where things guide me if I feel called. So here we sit. So we're going to talk about Shannon's story today. Let's start with your childhood. Were you in the spiritual world from the beginning? How'd that go down?
So essentially my mom was Catholic, my dad Methodist, but my mom didn't really take us to any Catholic churches. So I was primarily raised Methodist. And it was funny because they'd always drop us off at church. So they're like, we'll be back, and then they'll treat us to donuts. It was always a really open family as far as, metaphysical gifts. My mom's gifted and she had had experiences since she was a teenager. So nothing was weird. If we'd say, my sister and I, we were just talking to the angel in the tree, my mom would be like, oh, what did they say? So it was never any disbelief of anything that we ever went to her. Not so much with the rest of the family. My grandmother, on my dad's side, she was always kind of a unique one. I say that because she would have Ouija board parties. Mm-hmm. So, I was kind of exposed as a kid to a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Grandma had Ouija board parties. What? That sounds fun. Was she getting through spirit?
She would invite neighbors and so apparently she was really good at it. And, a couple parties, there were a lot of, freaky things that would happen. I mean, essentially we think that she came from a witch line. So that's probably where it was, pulling from. But I remember, being a kid, she had a step down. I remember putting my hands on my, chin and just watching. And my sisters don't remember that for some reason, but I do. I remember, I don't know if I snuck away or what it was, but I remember watching and just being fascinated.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. So your childhood had some woo-woo in it. You weren't super religious. Okay. So then did you continue talking to angels and that all the way through?
I remember telling some of my friends about it. I can recall they thought it was weird or, different. So I kind of stopped talking about it. But I did have this one neighbor, Mrs. Betts, and she was so funny. She'd always say, come tell me a story. And she would be the one adult that always listened to me. And I remember her saying, how do you know these things? I don't know. But she would just think I was fibbing about some of these things. But then I remember a few times she was able to verify the facts. So, yeah, it was just never, I don't remember my parents ever sitting us down and saying, don't talk about these things.
Okay, cool. So let's fast forward then to when this
Yeah.
all came back online for you. Because some shit went down is what I'm hearing, Shannon.
Some shit went down. Seriously. Yeah. So in my 20s, I had some scary events happen in my teens. I'm not going to get too far into it, but essentially I had a demon that approached me in the woods. I knew it was a demon. I don't know how to explain it because I didn't see it. I just knew that if I turned around, like my life would forever be different in a bad way. So that was one thing that scared me. And then I had another really odd experience as a Girl Scout counselor. And this one's really freaky, but essentially I woke up with like grass on my feet and it was early morning and I didn't remember going outside, but I remember having this really crazy dream about a warlock like walking me down a railroad track and taking me to an amphitheater and making me like dance like a puppet. And so when I woke up, I was so freaked out about it. I actually walked up to the main, I don't know, mess hall or whatever they called it. And the camp counselor, the head was there. And I was like, why are you up so early? It's, only like 6 a.m. And I told her the story. And I said, this was the craziest dream. I said, but then I woke up with grass on my feet. My feet were cold. I always slept with socks. And she said, that is so crazy because there's a folklore that there was a warlock that would make people do things that they didn't want to do. So pretty
Oh,
much after that, I
man.
closed my gifts off. Yeah. Yeah. Fascinating. And honestly, I never went back and looked it up or saw if anyone wrote about this warlock in particular, but just the fact that she knew the folklore was crazy. And then just little experiences like my grandmother came to me and told me she had just passed. And then my mom called me the next morning, grandmother passed. And I was like, yeah, I already knew. And then I had this like a spirit come and I don't know how to explain it, but it was like of a sexual nature. Like I knew it was like laying on my bed and then I felt like it tried to lay on me and my room got really cold. And honestly, that's the only time this has ever happened to me. The room was so cold, like felt like I could see my breath. And I remember just being so
How old were
scared.
you
I
at
didn't
this
know who it
point?
was. And I was in my late 20s. And I remember calling my mom the next day and just, said, I had the weirdest experience. She's like, oh, it's probably granddad or, one of our grandpas. And I'm like, no, this was not, this was not grandpa. It's very hard to explain, but I felt like it was like caressing my face and, so I think it was like a week later, my mom called and told me that one of my ex-boyfriends had passed away in a car accident
Oh,
in California. And I was living in Atlanta at the time. So yeah, so it was
oh,
him.
jeez.
Was able to put
Okay.
2 and 2
All right.
together.
So you're very open, obviously, because, yeah, that's a lot for not even trying.
Yeah.
We're not even trying to connect, right? Yeah.
Not even trying. Not even trying. Yeah. And then I would say the next, I really shut it off. I moved to Charlotte, and with my ex-husband. And when we moved into the house, I knew there was a spirit here. I knew his name was Cody. I knew he was a cowboy. And my ex-husband was aware of my
Mm-hmm.
experiences, since I was little. Cody was a friendly ghost, so I didn't try to get rid of him. Nothing happened in the house. Soon as I started going through my divorce, that's when the shit hit the
Okay.
fan. It was
Listen,
crazy.
Shannon, you keep
Yeah.
saying you turned it off. It does not sound like it ever turned off to me. It was on. It sounds like you're saying I turned it
Oh,
off, but like I don't think spirit allowed you to fully turn it off.
I don't think I was ever fully turned off. I just didn't explore. How's that? I didn't
Yeah, that
explore
sounds right.
anything.
Yeah.
Honestly think I needed to until I started seeing all the shadows. That's when things started getting really bad.
Was this during the divorce then? Is this when this all hit?
This is when and it was honestly right before he moved out is when it really started, but we were sleeping in separate rooms. He wouldn't
Okay.
move out. I couldn't get him out of the house. So finally he moved out. And then I would count 42 shadows. That was the number. It was like 42 shadows running around the house. They would peep down from my ceiling, and it just went on forever. Like I would hear, in addition to the shadows, the conversation started. So I have a bedroom it's pretty large. It's almost like 2 bedrooms in one, and it's separated by like an arch. And they would peep down from the attic and then pop back up. And then I'd hear like 3 or 4 conversations going on at the same time. And so I'd yell, "Shut up." Like, "Stop it." I would check every TV, every radio, my phone, like, what is playing? And then finally, I was like, I'm a nurse practitioner, and I thought, okay, maybe I'm having a psychotic break. Wouldn't surprise me. All the stress. Thankfully, I had a family that I could tell these things to, kept me grounded. So they didn't think I was crazy. I did get to a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to commit myself in a hospital just to even get some sleep. Like, medicate me so I can sleep. I was thinking about going down to the monastery because there's a monastery down the street, and try to reach out to someone to clear my house.
Yeah.
Like, I was at that point where I just didn't really know what to do. I knew I was gifted, but at that point in my life, I didn't really want the gifts. I was like, just leave me alone. I just want to sleep.
Right.
I
You
want
weren't
some
open to
peace.
it yet.
Yeah, I really wasn't. And I just wanted to deal with my divorce. Like that was, priority.
Yeah. So did you check yourself in some place to get some sleep?
I didn't. My family convinced me not to. And honestly, it was almost after I was like contemplating that Archangel Michael came to my room. And that still makes me want to tear up. But it was just one night where I just couldn't take it anymore. And I was like, I'm done. I can't do this. And then he came in on the other side of the bedroom. And I just remember seeing this huge angel. And he had his back to me. So I didn't actually see his face, but I knew it was Michael. He like told me, I'm Archangel Michael. And then his wings, like feathers, they started to like go in this pattern, almost like a song. It was the most peaceful I had felt. Like the peace that came with his visit was unbelievable. And he started looking out my window as if he was like keeping watch. And that was the first night I think I slept in like 6 months.
Okay. So he came in to help clear out and keep everybody else quiet so you could get some of the healing you needed.
Yes.
As Archangel
Correct.
Michael
Yes.
does, right? He's not messing around. He
Yeah.
came in. Okay. So we're getting through a divorce. Things are obviously opening up again. All right. What now? I'm on the edge of my seat. What's next?
I went to a massage, and the guy at the massage, he was very open and, always talking to me about the mediumship and things. And he said, "You really need to go to this place in Charlotte. I think they can help you." So it's called the Bag Lady, and it's a metaphysical shop. And honestly, like I had pulled up a fence that day and took part of it to my sister in South Carolina. Dirty, like I think it had dirt on my face. I don't even know, honestly, if I'd showered in like 2 days. Walked into the store and counter. Yeah, I don't think he knew what to do with me because I looked such a mess. And he was like, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Please, like I don't know what to do. I have spirits everywhere, And just by chance, one of the co-owners of the shop was there. His name is Nami, and he like immediately pulled me in the back room, my feet in this copper bowl, like connecting me to heaven and earth. And I just remember thinking, like, is this my life? Like what is going on? He's shoving a crystal in my hands. And it's one of those moments where you're really like, is this me? Like, am I dreaming? What is happening? And then he says, "You have 6 entities attached to you, and we need to clear them off, and we need to clear your house." It was wild. So he became my first mentor.
Yeah. Okay. Because you just said you're a nurse practitioner. So you have like plenty of medical knowledge. So I'm guessing at some point are questioning your sanity for a minute, right? You're like, should I seek psychiatric care?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you also were so connected with the other side. You knew this was more
Yes.
than that. You knew some to trust this man that was telling you had to clear your house and get rid of your entities and all of these things.
Yeah.
Did he say what kind of entities they were? Like, obviously,
Yeah.
were they dark?
They weren't actually. They were chickens that were attached from my land. They were ready to pass over, and they were frustrated because I wasn't passing them over, draining my energy. Can't even like tell you how many times I took my blood pressure because I felt all this pressure in my head. And I would check it and it'd be fine. And I'm like, what is going on? Why do I feel all this pressure? But that's what it was. They were draining my energy, were just making me feel I was going to explode. Before him though, I did have a ghost team come out. I still think is comical. They came with like $10,000 worth of equipment, and the spirits drained their equipment within an hour. Yeah, like 12-hour equipment. All their batteries drained. They had this infrared light or something that they put up in they showed my attic from the outside, and you could see all this activity. Like it was wild. I had orbs circling all around the house. And I went outside and I looked up at my window in my bathroom, and there were 6 faces, and it was the 6 entities that were attached to me. So this is before seeing Nami. So when Nami said you have 6 attached to you, I knew he was right. Yeah, it totally tracked. Yeah. So he came in and he called in the angels. There was where I was standing, there was no air, like there was no, no vents, anything. And I felt these breezes like flying around me. One of their wings touched my arm. It was like the purest joy. I just started like bawling because I don't think I'd felt joy in like a year. I knew that they were cleansing and clearing my house. They touched me, for a reason to give me joy, back in my life. And then I was like, okay, I'm a psychic medium. Like I accept it. I'm going to learn. And that was, I think, December of 2023. And for some reason, God didn't think that was fast enough. I think I was already becoming a shaman and hadn't, realized it. And I had my near death experience in January of 2024, getting the flu and COVID, of like, I don't know, 30 or 40 COVID and flu patients around the holidays. And I had, for the first time in like 20 years, not went home to Michigan for Christmas. And that was a huge mistake, obviously, because I got sick. All meant to happen. So it is what it is. But I went into acute respiratory failure, acute heart failure, spent I think it was 6, 7 days in the ICU. And during that time, I kind of had my near death experience where I, floated outside of my body.
Oh,
It
geez.
was like, again, peace, so quiet. It was peaceful. And I had an opportunity for a soul exit. So I didn't take it.
And you stayed. Mm.
Stayed.
You didn't take it. Why, girl? Why? Do you know? I mean, you had more to do here, obviously.
Honestly, it was my dog. My dog, and the fact that I hadn't changed that. I was like, you know what? If I die, he'll get the house, he'll get my dog. Like, there's no way in hell that's happening. It's like, it's not happening. I was like, nope. And even like my best friends, I have this like tribe of female had since I was little, and they were texting me saying, bitch, you better not die because he's gonna get the house, he's gonna get your dog.
No,
Die. So
no, sir.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay,
No.
so no, you
No.
stuck
So
around.
that's yeah.
Yeah. And then, all right. So did things catapult after that? Were you like all in now?
I was all in because I wanted to be, but just because it was like, the nurse came in and I was on morphine, but when I looked at her, she looked like this beautiful rainbow. And I said, "You are
Mm.
so beautiful." And she's like, "How much morphine? Are we?" And I'm like, "No, you're so beautiful." I'm like, "You look like a rainbow." So I started seeing color. I was seeing all the auras. I was seeing, feeling the technology of the hospital.
Mm.
Where it
Mm-hmm.
started coming from the windows, the walls. But most importantly, her mom came, the nurse's mom. And I was talking to her, and the nurse came in and she said, "Who are you talking to?" And I said, "I think your mom." And she just started bawling. And her mom had died of COVID a year to the day that she came to me. And so I did like a little reading. I think it was like 3 a.m. I'm on morphine. I think Ativan too.
Hey, you were wide open. Yep.
Yep, totally wide open. So the hospital's not a good place to become a shaman.
There's a lot of spirits there.
Yeah, everywhere. And again, I didn't know how to turn it off. I was still learning. I didn't know put anything down. So
Mhm.
happy to get discharged from the hospital and get home.
Okay, so you got home. You did not have to give your house and dog
I
away.
didn't.
All good there. Okay, God, what's next? God, are we done yet, Shannon? You got a lot going
It was
on.
a lot. It was a
What's
lot.
next?
I started researching what is a medium? Like what happens with a medium? Nami had said to me, you're opening portals in your attic because we closed one and then I kept doing it. And I'm like, how am I doing this? And he didn't realize I was a shaman. Like he didn't know, but he did give me the best advice. And he told me to go to tachyon chamber. If you've never heard of a tachyon chamber, they're absolutely amazing. I don't know how many there are in the US, maybe 5 or 6, but there's one near Charlotte.
What do they do? I gotta find one. What do they do?
You need to. These tachyon particles circulate around you. The one I go to, she has a Metatron cube above your head, and then these pillars with these large tachyon balls. And I've never tried to meditate. I don't think a day in my life prior to any of this. And I didn't know what I was doing, but it's called a meditation chamber. So I was like, I'll give it a try. So she puts me in this zero gravity chair and I lay there and, ask spirit to show you what you need to see. So gratitude. And I think that's a really good lesson for everyone because every major journey that I've had, the most profound visits from God, from angels, I've always started with gratitude. And I think if you do that, they'll truly show you in the way. So I started with gratitude. And then all of a sudden I started seeing these wild visions, like my grandfather falling from the sky. And, I'm like trying to catch him. I'm like, "Granddad, come on." And then the Grim Reaper shows up. And I'm like, "You're 2 weeks too late, buddy. Like, I've in here."
Move
And
along, friend. Nothing to see.
like, come on. So he literally pulls his hood back and shows me his face. And it's like a skull face with like no eyes. I wasn't scared though, like scared. And he kind of did this like, "Come here." Hell no. No, I'm not going with you. Like, why would I go with you? Like, you could have got me 2 weeks ago. So,
yeah, too late. Too late. Snooze, you lose. I'm
and
sticking
then
around.
at one point, it's too late, right? Yeah. So I've met him many times since, and he explained to me that he doula, that I help people cross over. So I think he was going to use that opportunity to show me, like, we're going to work together by time that day.
Yeah. So could you, if you see him again, I feel like if you see him again, you should tell him
Yeah.
he should look a little bit more chill. Like, don't be scaring people. Maybe he could be a little more chill looking. Don't you think? Can you
So
tell him for us?
actually, he showed me his real face last week. Actually, is very attractive. So, but he came to me that way, and he has, because he needed me to know who he was, basically. Like, he showed me his face, and I was like, "Wow, you're actually like look normal, and you're attractive." That was funny. After the wolf's chasing me, I'm like, "What in the hell am I doing here? Like, I'm not getting anything out of this." Sudden, I hear this booming voice. It said, "My child." And I was listening, and I knew it wasn't my dad's voice. And he said, "My child, you have a great destiny ahead of you." I still get the chills. I'm kind of a smart ass. So I was like, yeah, my bed, that is my destiny. I almost died 2 weeks ago. I'm still tired. I just want to go to bed. said, did you hear me? I said, yes. And he said, my child, he repeated again, you have a great destiny ahead of you. And not even 2 seconds later, who owns this, the tachyon chamber came in and tapped my toe. And she was like, okay, we're done. And I just sat there stunned. Like God just spoke to me.
Yeah.
Like, wow. So, what do you do with that? So, the next thing that happened was I went to my first ever metaphysical anything. It was a conference called the Tree of Life. And I didn't tell anyone but my family I was going. I was embarrassed. I was like scared. And it was in Raleigh, so just a few hours away. And friends by Cindy Dale, who is an amazing energy healer. And so we're the first day, she's leading us through this meditation. So she's leading us through this meditation. It was to find your tree of life. And everyone honestly has a tree of life within them. And so I'm listening and traveling in my own body. You know, as a nurse practitioner, I know anatomy. And I'm like, what? I saw my heart beating. I knew it was my heart. My lungs expanding. And then I'm going through my intestines, my stomach, and I'm like seeing food that I'd eaten like the day before. My first thought was put in the water. Like, are they drugging us? What's happening? And the next thing I know, I pop out of my chest and I am the tree. Hands are the leaves and branches, and I can see everyone in the room. My eyes are closed, you know, my physical body. I see everyone. I'm looking at Cindy leading everyone in the meditation, and I'm like, I am a tree. What the hell? Brings us out of it, and I go back in my body, and I wake up, and I honestly thought I should leave because something is medically wrong with me. Almost immediately broke out into these groups. We did, because I probably would have left. There was this older gentleman and he's staring at me and he said, you want to talk about it? And I was like, I don't know. I'm scared. And him and like 2 other people at my table. And I was so embarrassed. I was scared. I'm like, they're going to think I'm crazy. So anyways, I told him my story and I said, is this normal? Like, this is my first metaphysical anything. They chuckled because they've all been studying for years. His name was Lee Smith. He actually became a mentor for me as well. And he said, you're a shaman. Whew, still to this day makes me want to cry because the most beautiful energy and light washed over me in that moment. Part of my story I didn't say is that I'd been looking for something for like 20 years. I couldn't figure out what it was. I'd ask counselors, friends, like, do you feel like you're missing something in your life? And they'd all be like, no. Parents would say, normal. Just everyone feels like that. But no one felt like that I talked to. And as soon as he said that, I literally felt complete for the first time in like 20 years.
Wow.
It was,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I knew he's right. Yeah. It
Oh
was,
my
it was
gosh.
pretty
Have you had
profound
any
moment.
past life regressions where you saw you've done this before?
Yes. Before I did that, though, I learned everything about being a shaman. So I started buying every book. I was downloading audiobooks to, my commute to listen. One of the books had this ceremony that you could do where you sit near a table. And honestly, at this point, I can't believe I did some of this stuff. I had like no fear of anything. I didn't know any better, basically.
Shannon, why would you have any fear? Are you hearing all the stories you've told? You've already been through enough. You should not be scared at all of anything. Like, I get why you weren't scared. Shit, you'd already been through a lot. This is just another Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah. But now I know better, and people are like, you didn't open up sacred space. You could have had, demons coming. And I'm like, whatever. Yeah. So I sat there and looked at this mirror, and it's like you soft gaze it so you don't look directly at it. Shown every lifetime, the picture of what I was. I was a man. I'm a very strong female, but I was mostly a man. Many of them were mutilated and beaten because they were shaman. They were gifted and murdered, and in a lot of cases, I had this like knowing, like as the faces presented themselves. I was a bird man. Like, talk about crazy. I'm like, wait, what? That was a bird? And you're not supposed to look at the faces. You're supposed to look a little bit to the side of the mirror so you can see them.
Yeah.
But they say don't concentrate on anything. Well, it's a little difficult when you see a bird man and you're like, what? Well, it looked like a parrot. The purpose of this is that the face that keeps showing up is the one that's your true self. That's your true identity. It was this 5'2". I gave him 2 inches because I used to say 5 foot and he was getting a little mad, from Peru. And he's one of my spirit guides now. That's who my, I guess, true self is this ancient shaman from Peru. When she did a shamanic healing on me, she actually saw him. So it was really cool validation for me that, I think anytime anyone's going through a journey, you're looking for validation. Like, is this right? How many times I've said, am I crazy, mom, dad? Saw him. I was like, okay, I know that's real. And then I started signing up for every class I could. A shaman who went to the Four Winds, which is considered like the Harvard of shaman schools, to train me. So I started training with her, and then my whole world opened up. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. You were born shaman. So describe the difference between shamans and like, what does it mean to be a shaman? Because some people are just like, I connect with the other side. I'm a psychic medium or whatever. But when someone says I'm a shaman, what are we saying exactly?
Yep. So the definition of a shaman is someone who lives with one foot in this world and one foot in the other worlds. So true. I'm always connected. Talk about the pressure in my head. Since probably since the day he called me a shaman, my friend Lee, I've had this pressure on the top of my head, and that's my spirit team. Like, it's huge. I lose time. So shaman can journey, which means that we can leave our physical bodies, and we have access to the upper, middle, and lower worlds, where healers act as a hollow bone or a vessel for healing. I would say the difference is like our ability to journey, and the fact that we're kind of always connected. It's really hard to explain. I do open up sacred space, but I could also, if you would have asked me this morning at the gym a question, I'd be able to likely provide you an answer. Yeah. There is,
Gotcha.
I felt weird as a white woman saying a shaman, because if you look it up, they're all mostly indigenous. They come from all these cultures where they go through these rituals of almost killed, essentially, like buried with a straw, to this near-death experience. So they become shaman. And so I felt really weird because I'm like, I'm a white woman. Like, how am I a shaman? But then I read some research, and there's a Harvard study, and it talks about being born a shaman, chosen by God. And then that made sense to me. And so people who go through near-death experiences, some of them will be chosen as a shaman. So there is a difference too. I've learned that some people will practice shamanism, will learn the craft and techniques of healing and things like that. There is a true shaman, which is chosen by God.
You didn't choose this path. It chose you, it sounds like. Would that be accurate?
Exactly. Yeah. And so I've been very careful with, how I talk to people about it, because, it's hard to say anything. You're chosen by God, hey, I'm chosen by God. So it's hard. It's sometimes hard to talk about it with the general public. When I do sound baths and things out in the public, it was a little difficult to explain, but I'm starting to get over that.
Do you find it difficult ever to know if it's spirit coming through, shamanism coming through, or ego?
I do. I think we all struggle with that. The more we our gifts, I think there should always be a question. Let me say that. When you stop questioning it, you need to be careful. I'm always, myself, my ego, and making sure it's not me. I do have great communication with my spirit guides and angels, and so ask them, is this my ego? Like, what is this? So they've helped me identify things. Humans, we have egos, so it's hard to let that go.
Well, yeah, we can't get away from them. No.
But I think I'm growing more and more in oneness. I live
Yeah.
2 different lives. So, I mean, I go to work as a nurse practitioner. I treat patients with medicine. I can't practice at work. So,
Yeah.
my life, I have a healing practice and people reaching out all the time, help and prayers and, so it's like I'm constantly pulled in multiple directions.
Are you ever at work with a patient and you're like, I know exactly how to help them, and it's not medicine, it's on the spiritual plane, and then you just feel like you can't, or do you just kind of sneakily do it? How's that ethically work?
So so I'm open at work. They all know I'm a shaman, and essentially they've asked me not to practice. Yeah, just I'm definitely good at knowing when people are about to pass. Say that. Not even trying to use my gifts.
Oh, I
Yeah,
bet you are. Yeah.
I've learned that there's stages of death, and the more people typically around a bed.
But you're a death doula. Shouldn't you be helping out while you're there?
Well, they have hospice separate. Um,
Mhm.
it's a constant,
Yeah.
pull.
Yeah.
But I laugh with my colleagues, because I'll walk into a patient's room and I'll say, "Wow, like everybody's there, and there's angels at the bedside, and I wouldn't expect much longer." Colleagues are open.
Mm.
I've had some experiences where I walked in and a patient's passed away, and they're standing in the corner and it's around, the bed, and it's the weirdest thing. I'm looking at this body and, I'm trying to be professional and talk to the family, but the patient's in the corner, like waving at me, like, hey. I've had a couple of weird
Yeah,
experiences like
grandma's over
that
in
at
the
work
corner
too.
like, "Hey, we're waiting. Let's go. Let's go." Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
Uh-huh.
I want to be able to say, she's good. She's happy. She looks beautiful, but again, it's, I'm blocked at work.
Yeah.
There is a place for me.
Very
Part of
cool.
my purpose is to find that right place where I can use my nurse practitioner abilities and merge the two, my shaman and nurse practitioner.
Can you do body scans? Like, do you body
Yeah.
scan people and kinda like things
I
light up?
do. Yeah, I do. Thing that is funny, in multiple medical intuitive classes, and I was getting frustrated because I'm like trying to do these MRI scans, an energetic scan, and I'm not being able to see in the body. And I'm like, well, I've been in my body, I've seen my body, but I couldn't, it was like I was
Mhm.
blocking myself. I couldn't see into, my clients, but they would tell me, they would say like, she has constipation, whatever it is. Teachers, both of them would say, well, the first people to ever do this were shamans. And I'm like, then why can't I do it? I
Yeah.
kind of got out of my own way and I started doing it. And I've seen cancers, missing organs. So it's funny because spirit, they'll tell me what's going on. I'm not always able to see with my third eye. And that's growing. It's one of my abilities that's getting better. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, because where you're at in your spiritual journey is you're pretty far along, right? You're fully connected, but always growing. I always tell people it doesn't
Mhm.
matter where you're at.
Always
There's more
growing.
to do. There's more to grow. We're never
Yeah.
done, right? Like you always going to have new skills that could unlock and you get led.
Yes.
No, like you don't see the whole path. You see a little bit of it and you just keep going.
Yeah, yeah. A couple days, I learned something new. My journey's
Yeah.
only been 2 years, basically, just over 2 years. So say that like see that people get discouraged sometimes when they listen to me and my abilities and
Mhm.
listen, like I had to almost die to get all this. Like I had to go through a horrific divorce. Like I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So I have a huge purpose and I've been shown that purpose and I need to be on a fast track to reach my purpose. I actually applied and started the master healing certificate at the Four Winds. I didn't think I would be going to, but then spirit led me. Even in just 4 weeks, I've already learned some techniques that I know will be life changing for people. So we'll never stop growing. I don't want to ever stop learning, but I want to slow down my pace a little bit because it's a lot.
My God, like your pace is really fast. And actually that might, if you're listening now, don't get scared because this isn't the normal story we hear, this fast pace, guys. This usually progresses quite a bit slower. So,
Exactly.
don't get scared either way.
It does.
Don't get bummed that you're not moving
Right.
fast enough or you think you're not. And also don't get bummed that if you jump into this, you're going to get hit with all this shit Shannon did. Okay. Stuff crawling out of the ceilings and all that. That's not always the case. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
it's not.
That's not the norm. So no, but it happens. And this is cool to hear all about. Okay. So where you're at in your journey right now, you're still learning and honing in exactly where your niche will be. And that may change, right? Because you're pretty young. You got a lot of years ahead of you to be doing this. So it's probably going to just evolve over time. That's my thought.
I'm not that young. I'm 51.
Okay, cut it out. Don't say that's not
It
young.
is.
I'm not
I get the
older
sense
than that, but I am. Still got a lot of time.
You're right. No, I feel better today at 51 than I ever did in my 40s and 30s. Like I'm going to the gym 5 to 6 days a week. Oh, amazing. So I feel young, honestly. Sense that my guides are kind of telling me that this master healing certificate will kind of be the icing on the cake, the final topper. Me for now, we're all wounded healers.
Yeah.
So I learned, 2 years ago when someone asked me to do my first shamanic healing, and I felt like I couldn't do it. I mean, I didn't know enough. I'm like, well, who am I, to work on this guy under hospice? And that set my healing journey because he had heart failure and he was under hospice and he'd been hospitalized, I think 4 or 5 times in a month. And as an NP, I know that's like, he probably had a month to live. And so after his healing, his ejection fraction improved. This is 2 years ago. He's traveling. He feels amazing. So I knew like that was my destiny, was to heal people in that sense. Yeah, absolutely. We knocked it out of the park. The second one, we didn't knock out of the park. He was hospice as well, but he passed a week after I did my healing with him. So I was angry. And
yeah, but that's not a fail. I don't think that sounds like a fail. I think that sounds passing through.
Well, I did. Honestly, they showed me because I was so devastated that we needed to purify his soul in order for him to pass. And that's exactly what I saw. And that's what happened. Yep. So honestly, his wife has done like 4 or 5 readings with me since and good. So yeah, he's good. Yeah. So I think for me, it's more of this is the time now to tell my story, get out there and share.
No, for sure. Oh, God, well, thanks for guys. Has this been an amazing story or what? Okay. We love Shannon.
Wild.
Shannon's going because you guys need to get like a reading, a healing, or something done. If you're feeling a pull towards Shannon, everything's in the show notes, of course. But we're going to do Shannon's going to do something for me. I don't know if she's going to pull through, talk to my spirit team. I'm pretty open, so you should be able to tap whatever you want out of me. So guys, Shannon, thank you for all this. And you guys hop over and listen to the bonus material because we're going to do a quick reading. We're going to see what comes through for Jen so that you guys can be less scared about what the experience is like. It's just all good high vibe stuff, you guys. I don't want to be nervous about doing this stuff. Okay. So I will see you guys next week and hop on over to hear how our reading's about to go. Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you.
Listen, I know your time is valuable. And right now I'm feeling super grateful and totally humbled that you chose to hang out with me today. If this podcast resonates with you, could you do me a solid and hit that subscribe or follow button? That's going to help you out because you're never going to miss an episode. And it helps me out because you're never going to miss an episode. And if you have like 30 seconds more, could you leave a 5-star rating and maybe leave a kick-ass review? Thank you so much, and I can't wait to continue our journey on the next episode. Oh, and I can't forget the fine print. The legal jargon. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We're just 2 friends on this journey together, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or any other qualified professional. You get it. See you next time.